Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Mr. Secretary, for your service. I want to cover in the 5 minutes I have just a couple of thoughts. Number one, your proposed budget does impact some programs in my state, and I'd like at some point to sit down with you or your staff and talk about your thinking in that regard. I really do want to understand your point of view. I don't want to take the time to do that today. I do want to thank you, though, for your overarching approach and your understanding that we can't continue to spend more money than we take in and expect a good result. I think most Americans believe that we in Washington are worse than a drunk sailor. A drunk sailor at least stops spending when he runs out of money. We just keep doing it and borrowing more. I want to return to a subject that our leader talked to you about, Senator Shelby, who is an expert on this issue and can explain it much better than I can, but that's the red snapper population in the Gulf. You're a very skilled business person, and I hope you'll bring some of those skills to NOAA. I don't mean any disrespect in what I'm about to say. I'm sure that, that there are many fine people at NOAA, but NOAA's management of the red snapper population has been an unmitigated disaster. They ought to hide their heads in a bag. It's been horrible. Our recreational fishermen have been totally screwed. They deserve a seat at the table. I hope you will consider allowing the states, the Gulf states, to have more involvement in the management of the red snapper population. And in fact, frankly, I hope you'll consider in your quest to try to make your department more efficient, for which I congratulate you sincerely, I hope you'll consider allowing the Gulf states to manage the red snapper population, because frankly, there's some folks in Washington in charge of this program. They don't know a red snapper from a red-nosed reindeer. And we've got a problem. Yes. And I would like at the appropriate time to come by and see you and bring some of my people. Would you work with me on that?
Well, I surely will. As I think you're aware, we have already been working with the states trying to work out a reallocation, because it does seem to me that just 3 days as a fishing season for recreational doesn't really seem to be the most logical solution. As to the overall management of the fisheries, you're well aware of the provisions of the Magnuson Act, and we obviously are bound by those. And if memory serves, the members of those local fisheries are actually proposed by state government and ratified by us. So I think one way perhaps to deal with what you feel is the lopsidedness of the allocations between the commercial fisheries and the recreational fellows might very well be to try to change who gets put on the fishery panels, because they're the ones who really have the big power as far as I can see.
Yes, sir. And I think that's an excellent suggestion. I'm thinking I'd like to at least talk about helping you in your quest to make your department more efficient and to prioritize your responsibilities, and respectfully suggest that you consider just turning over the management of red snapper to the Gulf states.